Hello, my name is Enjouli and I've had an abortion. I'm with the My Voice, My Choice Leadership Group, which is a project of the Chicago Abortion Fund. And how that works is women that have received funding from the Chicago Abortion Fund after their procedure are called back and asked if they want any additional support such as housing, jobs, etc., and also if they would like to organize around reproductive justice. If they accept the invitation, they will participate in a number of trainings to build themselves up as leaders and also to be heard in the reproductive justice movement. Today on the show, I'm proud to introduce Maya from ICA. Maya.
Hello, I'm Maya Palatucci. I'm the youth organizer for the Illinois Caucus for Adolescent Health.
Thank you, Maya. Maya and I are both young women of color, and we feel that it's very important for us to collaborate. This movement desperately needs us, and most of the issues being made in this movement affect us greatly. So there's just the need for this collaboration. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So, Maya, what is parental notification?
Parental notification is the 1995 law that was passed in Illinois that says that if a young woman under the age of 18 wants to obtain an abortion, she must notify one or both of her parents before doing so.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges and successes with this law?
Well, we've been organizing around doing something around this issue at ICA, and what we've done so far is that, you know, this law mainly affects young women under the age of 18, but we realized quickly that we need allies, you know, from across the board, and so we've been doing trainings and doing general education campaigns for youth of color from the Asian community, from the African American community, from the Latino community, immigrant community, and so forth, and trying to bring youth of color to the forefront and talking about this issue and how this issue directly affects them.
Okay. So where's this law at now?
Right now, the law has been on hold. So right now in Illinois, a young woman under the age of 18 can go into a clinic and get an abortion without notifying her parents. But that is because the only other way out of notifying your parents with parental notice is having to go to a judge, basically state your case, and he will have to, you know, approve whether or not you're eligible to get your abortion. So that process has not been thought out. That process has not been figured out in a timely manner. So it's been on hold. Lisa Madigan, our Attorney General, quickly did an appeal to try to get that process moving so that it can be implemented as soon as possible. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay. So, working so closely with a youth-based organization.
Well, can I ask you a question first?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I wanted to hear more about the Hyde Amendment.
Oh, sure. Okay. So the Hyde Amendment, basically named after the senator who sponsored it, Henry Hyde. Okay, Maya, sorry, we have a caller, so I'll get back to the question.
Sure.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I recently seen a footage on TV. Hold on one second. Hey, Mickey, turn to channel 19.
Okay.
Anyway, I seen a footage about a woman, a pregnant woman who was getting an operation, right? And they had cut open the woman, and she was pregnant at the time. She was operating. They were operating on the baby because they had spinal bifida, and when they had slit open the sac, the baby had reached out and grabbed the doctor's finger. Now, you all are on TV with the Chicago Abortion Fund. I'm wondering, how can y'all live with yourself?
So the Hyde Amendment is basically, it's named after the senator who sponsored it, Henry Hyde. And what that means is that a woman cannot use her, as of 1976, cannot use her medical card to obtain an abortion, and before then she could. And so obviously we know who this affects the most. And we are working diligently in Illinois and pro-choice organizations across the country to really get this, you know, overturned, because it's just not fair. There's so many cases that that, you know, you just can't judge: rape, incest, you know, domestic violence, just poverty. You know, there's so many things going on that, you know, women need to be able to access abortion, and that's it.
And it brings on an interesting point, because the Hyde Amendment was passed just barely a couple years after Roe versus Wade was passed. And so it's just interesting that, you know, the women's movement and the feminist movement of the 70s was primarily white women of middle class and didn't have any unity with women of color. And so because there wasn't any unity in that fight, it just seems that, like, this Hyde Amendment was passed, which completely just affected every other group that doesn't have access to abortion.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so so Maya, explain to us the connection between Puerto Rico and sterilization.
Well, Enjouli, well, it's just going back to the whole, you know, Roe versus Wade, you know, in the 70s theme, there was just this whole lack of community, lack of unity between women. And so as a result of that, there were lots of women left behind. And so even from the 1940s, there's just been policies in our... Oh, I'm sorry, we have a caller.
Okay, we'll get back to that, Maya. Go ahead, caller.
I just wanted to say that you ladies are doing a wonderful job in supporting women and their choice, and every woman has a choice as to what they want to do with their own body. So I support you ladies, and you're doing a good job, one right there on the left.
Thank you so much. Okay, so go ahead, Maya.
Well, you know, there was just, you know, because there wasn't more than just, because there wasn't women, you know, fighting together from the races across the board, you know, it just led to a lot of policies being passed from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that led a lot of women in Puerto Rico being sterilized or tested upon for birth control. You know, and it just became a norm that once you had 3 children, you went through a sterilization process, or it was normal for someone to knock on your door and ask you to partake in a sterilization surgery, or it was done without your consent with English papers. And this was done with Latinas, with Chicanas, with Puerto Rican women in prison, on the island, and, you know, Native American women and African American women too in this country. So it's something that we've seen repeated, and it just got to such a drastic point. You know, 1/3 of Puerto Rican women of childbearing age was sterilized from the 40s to the 70s, and wow. It's just really heartbreaking, you know. And so and realizing that, you know, it's heartbreaking, but this is what reproductive justice is about. It's about women of color, you know, knowing their history and using that to honor it, and using that to be able to be the thing that launches us into doing our work, because we should be at the helm of this movement.
Right, you're right. And one thing that I wanted to go back on and address as far as the Hyde Amendment is that it's really just foolish, because if a woman cannot pay for an abortion, and this is a fact that we bring up all the time, if a woman is not able to pay for abortion, access abortion, using her medical card, then what's probably going to happen 9 times out of 10 is that she's going to have the baby, and then she's going to need government assistance, welfare, etc., which means that we're going to pay regardless. So it means let the woman make her choice and assess her situation the best that she knows, the best that she can.
And also, you know, if a young woman wants to have an abortion, you know, there isn't support for a young woman to have an abortion, you know, in this country. But then there's also not support for a young woman if she decides to go through with the pregnancy and parent the child. So it's kind of a no-win situation.
Yeah, right. Exactly, because it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you get an abortion, it's a problem. If you're a young mother,